Hi. Hello, own it. We've owned it. We're owning our health. We're owning our steps going forward. And that makes this group exciting. So today we're going to talk about cravings. It is an important topic in understanding our ways of eating, being healthy, and being able to do it for the long run. What is a craving? What categories do we have in the areas of cravings? I wrote a few down. No, this isn't the total list, but it's what probably are the most common. And this can be alcohol, coffee with caffeine, sugar, white flour, dairy. These things satisfy our taste buds, but there's an inside craving that goes deeper than that. How about texture? The need for texture, something that crunches, the salt, a habit, something we do regularly. We get the same thing at the same time of day. I remember walking home from junior high and I always had to stop by the 7-Eleven to get my Three Musketeer bar. That became a habit. Even to this day, I love Three Musketeer bars. Brings me to the next category. How we ate as a child. Did you eat meat and potatoes and that satisfy you? Tend to crave that. How about people who like kimchi? Some foods produce a gag reflex in us that we didn't have as children, but if we had them as children, it doesn't matter that the cheese smells absolutely horrible. We ate it as a child, we want it. Other people go, woo, I would never eat that. We gravitate to how we were raised as a child and those cravings. And the best way to deal with cravings is in 6 months. Now, you've heard 2 weeks can develop a habit. 2 weeks is a good start. It's not the right amount of time to rewire your brain and develop a habit. 6 months has been proven, especially in the field of counseling, therapy, and coaching, to be the amount of time it takes for a person to adapt to a new lifestyle. So those of us who are still struggling, this is a process. It's going to become less and less as you implement what you learn on how to deal with your cravings. I want us to share a story about myself. I developed an intense craving late afternoon and into the evening when I was in college. And it was anything sweet and crunchy or sweet and creamy, cake or donuts, ice cream, but that didn't have the right crunch. So I needed the peanut M&Ms. Now I've got crunch, creamy, and sweet. That combination was bad for me. It became an emotional eating issue for me. I could not stop. What is the definition of addicted? In the dictionary, it's to be physically and mentally dependent on a habit-forming substance, also to indulge in something repeatedly. Even though it's been proven that sugar causes an addiction in the brain, it doesn't always have to be an addictive item. It can be addictive behavior towards an item. I wanted to share what I did when I finally tried to deal with that after trying crash diets, fad diets, starving myself, all these things I tried. None of them worked because I go right back. There was something wrong, there's something broken in me that created this. There can be deeper issues within us. That's called primary food. Primary is primarily what feeds our soul, our being. We need to look at that too. That goes deeper if you go into my program longer, we look at that. But right now we're looking at secondary food. Secondary food is the food that's on your plate that feeds your body, nourishes your cells. And that's what we're dealing with for this month. So what I learned to do after years of, trying all these diets is I started substitutions. Believe it or not, this is gonna sound a little crazy, but instead of making the brownies or the cookie dough, get this. Remember grape nuts? Well, they had the right crunch. I could add a little milk so I got creamy going on, and I would sprinkle on a teaspoon of sugar, and I would eat like a cup of that. And it actually worked for me. Tricked my brain, and I stopped craving those other things. You kind of got to play around to figure out what crushes your craving. And that has began my road back to normalcy and eating and to who I am today. That's where it started. Substitutions for my cravings. Some secrets? First of all, I have to get rid of the things that I crave and they can't be in my house. And if you have members in your house who like these things, they have got to put them in a place that you can't find them. That's what I'm gonna say. It cannot just be in your cabinet or when you open your fridge, because that moment hits when you're just so weak or you're really hungry, you're gonna grab it. Shop when you're full, not when you're hungry. Groceries, that is. Keep healthy snacks in your bag, in your car, at your office. Have water with you always. We drink our water when we have a craving hit us. And that's just enough to slow us down. Just by slowing down and drinking water and putting a step in between grabbing this craving to cause us to stop and to pause. And typically, the emotional part of the brain quiets down a little bit. We become more logical. And we make better decisions. Now let me share with some of you what my substitutions are. This may not work for you, and I'm willing to work with you guys on the page on finding your substitutions. I have medjool dates, not dates, medjool dates, medjool. And they're the right creamy with the right sweet, and they work for my taste buds. If I have one, maximum two, knocks that sweet crave right out of me. And I make sure I get the really moist ones, not those hard dates. What else? Oat and flax, yes, it's organic, but it's also instant. There are times I just want an instant, and you can say, well, it's not as healthy as non-instant. Look, I'm looking for a crave fix right now, okay? This works for me. Another, when I need a crunch, these Norwegian crisp breads, one of them, the complex carbs and a little bit of the seeds, a little bit of the nuts, really shuts down my cravings. What else? I always keep a big bag of cacao powder. I am ready to chocolate up my shake all the time. Coffee. I love coffee. I have usually one small glass in the morning, Dandy blend. I don't know what it is about this stuff. Doesn't really taste like coffee, but it meets my need. It works for me. Dandelion, believe it or not. I also love the energizing tea. And people who walk into meetings dragging, who have one of these, their brain lights up. It's awesome. That works for me just to keep me from craving a chemical I don't need a lot of. Lastly, you all have it, the protein. You know, we make our shakes in the morning. Sometimes I just get a little shaker bottle, put one scoop, add in some non-dairy or whatever. I can have dairy, it's no big deal. During detox I don't, but I can have it. Shake it up and drink it. It knocks the craving out of me. Now, we're gonna crave the most when we're hungry, when we're tired, when we're sad, or when we're stressed. The hormone cortisol, which is a stress hormone, kicks in cravings. Typically in my programs later on, we deal with stress and sleep and all that stuff. That's your primary food in your life, what primarily feeds you. So yeah, your stress stays high, your cravings kind of stay high. Now, what I want to do for you is go over some craving substitutes. So you can kind of look at yourself and see if any of these work for you. Again, everything I shared, trial and error, I found what worked for me. And I always have this stuff in my house. I can forget to put it in my bag when I head out, and that's when I get into trouble. These are craving killers for me. Yes, healthy snacks is in a different category, and we carry those too when we need fuel. They're different purposes. Let's say you like crunchy. You're getting now into carrots and apples, hummus on maybe a whole grain like these crisp breads, where you get some crunch there. A palm full of nuts, there's your crunch. Plain popcorn, you use coconut oil to pop them in a pot. I use a wok. No microwave popcorn ever. 4 words. Okay, salty. Olives, pickled vegetables like cucumbers, carrots, tabbouleh and hummus. Kale or seaweed chips. Those kale chips can really knock out a salt craving. We use Bragg's aminos, which is amino acids, tastes just like soy sauce, okay? A healthier soy sauce. Soy sauce is not that healthy. Salted edamame, you know, edamame steamed with some salt. Really good for you. If you've got to have some chips, then you get a small bowl. Look how small that is. Okay, I want to put that here. I want to show you the palm of my hand. And you put some chips in there, put a little salsa, and that's it. Knocks out your cravings. Creamy. Here's your creamy craving, people. Smoothies. Works for me. Smashed avocado, pureed soups, mashed sweet potatoes, yogurt with no sugar, rice or chia seed pudding. Look, that is a good one. Now here we go to the sweet. Apples with a little peanut butter, almond butter. Sprouted date bread with unsweetened jam. Yummy. Some dried fruit, absolutely. Wheatgrass shot. I want to know if that works for anyone. It does actually. It does knock out a sweet craving. It tastes like green grass. Fruit ice cream. I gave you a couple recipes on how to make those in the e-booklets. Okay, what do I say about all that? Here's what I say about all that. Moderation, moderation, moderation. This is not a way to eat something and gorge ourselves on this. We're talking to be in the range of the limited amount, okay? So you have to stay within that range. And I'm making that very clear. We're talking about killing a craving. We're not talking about filling up. I promise you, if I could go from eating homemade cookie dough every single night to enjoying this stuff back here and never making cookie dough late at night, you can too. But it takes consistency and reaching out for help when you need it. I would like you to all, after you've heard this, write down what your cravings are. I want to know whether it's creamy, crunchy, sweet, or salty. Or if it's a blend like it is for me. One last thing I want to cover. Cheat. When do we cheat? When do we get the donut, Mary Kay, or the cupcake, or the real ice cream with chocolate syrup and the whipped cream? When do we get that stuff? Every week you look ahead. Am I going to a birthday party? Am I going to a wedding? Is there an office party? What's going on this week? If you have an event that week, within those 7 days, plan to eat that dessert. Then you say no to everything else. No when you pass the donut shop. No when you see the stuff at work, because you know you've got a craving coming. And that is the one cheat. But it's not a cheat because you planned it. It's only a cheat if you didn't plan it. See the difference? If you plan it, you are staying in control. Do you see that? By planning it, you're in control. We are not going to lose control and own it. We own it. And that inner 2-year-old who's out of control needs to be told, sit in the corner until you can calm down. All right. So hopefully that makes sense. If you intend to move forward, this is one area you need to go after. And I'm here to help you. Everyone on the page, let's reach out. Let's get honest and real. I want to know, do you have a cheat planned? If so, when and what? You might have to think about it. I want you to write it in the comments. No getting around it. We're going to plan it. Okay, everyone, have a great Monday. It's been great being with you. So until the next video, let's just stay in touch on Own It page. Bye.